Who am I? That's an interesting question, to which I have many answers. My life consists of many branches, twists, and turns, but I believe the best way to explain it to you would be to show you. It all begins with these people. My father, Eric Anthony Rottier, and my mother, Amy Marie Rottier. Both of my parents have lived in Madison their whole lives. They both went to La Follette and UW-Madison, then ended up getting married and moving to the north side of Madison. When I was born in 1997, I was named John for many reasons. Both coming from very Catholic families, my parents decided on naming me after Jesus' best friend, John the Baptist. They also went out due to my mother's Uncle John, and since John was the middle name of both my grandfathers, it seemed appropriate. Both my middle name Anthony and my last name Rottier come from my father. When I was born, I already had an older sister. Helen is 1 year older than me and is probably the person I spend the most time with in my life. She is an energetic and talented girl who enjoys dancing and reading. Helen's not my only sibling though. Over time I came to have many more siblings as well. Next is Mary. She is 2 years younger than me, fun-loving and awesome to be with. She enjoys playing soccer and being with her friends. Michael is 6 years younger than me. He is athletic and is almost always playing one of his many sports. My final sibling is Joseph, who is 12 years younger than me and is always getting into trouble, but he is very wise for his age. I had a great time growing up in my family. We take a lot of family vacations due to my father's job as a regional director of hotels. We go to Green Bay and Chicago every year, and sometimes we go to further places like Florida and Arizona. We often travel with family, like my grandparents. These are my father's parents, and these are my mother's parents. A big part of my life and my family's is Harry Potter. I have loved the books, movies, and entire franchise since I first laid my eyes on the first novel. I have almost every piece of Harry Potter merchandise, and I vividly remember the time I dressed as Harry Potter. And the other time. And the other... well, you get the picture. I even wrote a play based on Harry Potter once, but I'll get to that. When I was young, I was very fascinated by religion and wanted to be a priest or even the Pope. I was raised in a very Catholic household, and I go to church every Sunday. I participate actively in my church as an altar server, a cantor, and in the bell and voice choir. I got confirmed in 7th grade and chose Ambrose as my confirmation name because Ambrose is the patron saint of learning. That's how I became John Anthony Ambrose Rottier. Because I enjoy learning, I have always enjoyed school, but I probably owe a lot of my success to my parents. They always keep me working very hard and even make me do work for them. This includes anything from writing a 20-page essay to reading assignments. That's not even to mention the chore list, a 2-page 8-point font list of things to do over the weekend, some of which are a little over the top. But all of these things have kept me determined and studious. I have enjoyed parts of all my classes, but none of them compared to my love for math. I have loved math my whole life and participated in many math contests. My favorite of these is the La Follette Math Leagues. This is my 3rd year on the team and I haven't missed a single meet. Not only do I enjoy the math, but also the other people on the math team, and especially Mr. Adams. He is my favorite teacher and is in charge of the math team. My love for math has fueled other aspects of my life as well. I enjoy trying to memorize as many digits of pi as I can, which is currently 104. And I also have a large Rubik's Cube collection. I began solving Rubik's Cubes after 8th grade, and I was surprised to learn that it was all math. I'm now pretty good at it with a record speed solve of 16.89 seconds, and I can solve larger and more complicated puzzles. I loved math so much that I would one day like to go to MIT, the top math college in the USA. I would like to earn a doctorate there and become a math professor. Even though I'm a math nerd, I've still tried many sports in my life. As a child, I went from sport to sport, trying to find one that I was good at. Not an easy task. But I eventually stumbled upon running. Sure, it wasn't a really exciting sport, but my dad used to be a great runner, so I decided to give it a try. I ran during middle school and enjoyed it a ton. I began to run more races like Crazy Legs and the Madison Quarter Marathon. As I entered into high school, I joined La Follette's cross-country team. Sure, I was going to make it to the top. Little did I know that La Follette's cross-country team was one of the very best in the state, only getting to that point by immense amounts of time and hard work. I accepted the challenge and made it through my first season. I was confident and ready for the next season, but my health stepped in. After several asthma attacks due to running, and even an ambulance ride to the hospital, I stopped. Now I play tennis. I have been playing since 6th grade, and while I'm not the best at it, I have a lot of fun. This year I'm playing doubles on La Follette's JV team. I finally found the sport that I enjoy the most, but after all this time, I found that there are activities that I like more than sports. My first form of participation in music was when I joined my church's youth choir at age 7. We would practice once a week and sing at Mass once a month. I also joined the bell choir, which was, and still is today, a very interesting and enjoyable activity. This may not have meant much to me at the time, but thanks to the choir director and most talented musician I know, Mr. Ken, the youth choir gave me a foundation for music to build upon. It was soon after I joined choir that I was in my first musical. I was in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat at my church. It was one of the best times of my life. That experience impacted me so much that I began writing music and plays. I wrote my first song in 4th grade and have not stopped writing since. I continued to write music and short plays for my family and even taught myself how to play a keyboard. Then in 5th grade, I wrote Larry Potter and the Stolen Sack. It was a play based off of Harry Potter, so it combined two of my favorite things. There were auditions at Kennedy Elementary School to participate in the play. It took all year, but a wonderful group of students and an amazing teacher named Miss Torres eventually helped me put it all together. I played the keyboard for the show and it was recorded. It was played on public television 5 times and made into a DVD that was handed out to students who participated. There is even a copy of it in the Kennedy Library. That was an amazing year, but it didn't end there. 5th grade was the year I started playing the cello. The cello is the instrument I have played the most and the longest. I continued playing the cello throughout middle school as well as participating in plays and musicals. The second musical I ever did was a collection of songs about friendship. It was the first time I had to sing a solo in front of people. I performed many other roles in musicals and plays, including Tony in DuckTales and Bobby Sox, Kevin in Every Babysitter's Nightmare, and the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. All this time, I had also been writing music in all sorts of different styles, but I was limited to my tiny keyboard that was getting to be too small for me. In 7th grade, our family bought a real piano and I began lessons. It was tons of fun and brought into my musical horizons even more. I joined my school's jazz band and learned new styles of music to write. Jazz also introduced me to new instruments for me to try, like percussion and the trombone. I also continued singing in church choir and on my own. I practiced a lot before I sang Piano Man at the 8th grade talent show, which was one of the best feelings I've ever had.
It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday, as the weather out in. There's an old man sitting next to me, drinking his tonic and gin.
That brings me to freshman year. I played in the orchestra all year and continued playing piano. Then in the winter, I auditioned for Into the Woods at La Follette. That may have been the best decision I have ever made, because the people I met were some of the best in the world. In fact, the people in the music department at La Follette were so amazing that I not only joined voices as a sophomore, but also show choir. Show choir not only involves singing, but also dancing at the same time. It is a great workout and even more fun. It is even worth it to get up at 5:15 every day and take 2 different buses to get to La Follette at 7 o'clock. This year, I also got the role of Dean Hyde in La Follette's production of All Shook Up. It was an amazing role that was a lot of fun, but also very high for a bass like me. The experience improved my voice, vocal range, acting skills, and love for music and theater. My love of music has grown so much today, and at this point I have written about 50 songs. I have also added many more instruments, including guitar and harmonica, to what I already play. I practice and write music all the time, and although it requires a lot of time and effort, it is definitely worth it. A whole new world, a new fantastic point of view.
Says, son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes.
These days, I spend my time working hard to get money and good grades to one day fulfill my goal of going to MIT and then teaching there. I would also like to play Javert in Les Miserables and learn to play as many instruments as I can. So I guess that's who I am. Take it as you will. Maybe I'm quirky, maybe I'm a nerd, and maybe I'm even a little Sheldon-esque. But hey, that's me. So I guess to put it simply, I'm John Rottier.